Purchase time. So I've had a replica that I haven't even featured it on the channel for a while, which was none other than my Krytac Maxim 9, and I really wanted to get one of these pistols, and then I got it and I didn't really do anything with it. I did get the holster for it, which is banging around here somewhere. I can't remember what I've done with it now, but got the holster for it so we can use it as a sidearm. We can use it in games. But I didn't have mags, and I also was flicking around the other day and I wanted to get, they did like an upgraded front where you could run a tracer with it, which is I think what I want to do now. It does make the pistol a little bit longer, but I think with using the holster you can't use a torch because it won't fit in the holster. So I think if I'm actually using this in a game, I need to be running obviously like a red dot and a tracer unit. So I decided to buy one. Now, these things are freaking expensive. And I almost made a mistake because I'd ordered a bunch of stuff. I'd ordered the tracer front end. I'd got a couple more mags for it, which them in themselves are ridiculously expensive. And then I just threw on, you can buy these little rail segments for the bottom. In case, you know, I do run it without the holster and I just run it as a main in CQB, we could always put a torch on there if we want to. So I bought all this stuff. I ordered it from Airsoft Era in Ireland. We deal with them a lot. They buy all our parts and stock them, so go check them out. But I ordered all these bits. These are like 135 quid. These are like 50 something, 60 euros a magazine. I think they were on special offer at the time. And then this was negligible. It's just a little rail piece. But I ordered all the stuff, and then a couple of days had passed. And I do this all the time. I order stuff and then I forget. And then I was flicking through the internet yesterday, and I was like, God, I need to get that tracer unit. I forgot to order it, and I'm looking through retailers, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. I can't find anywhere close, either like in the UK or Ireland. I'd already sorted out, but I was looking in the UK. I was looking in the shops in Hong Kong. I did find a couple of shops in Europe, which I didn't want to just make an order with a European shop just for that. And then as I'm sat at the computer trying to find this stuff, a package turns up and I'd already ordered it, so I was about to waste a ton of money and buy another one. So, but yeah, these mags are pretty cool for the Krytac. They're extremely, and I say extremely lightweight, but they are expensive, about 50 to 60 quid. Now, I can run it on other magazines, but I wanted to get, if I'm running it as a sidearm and I'm running short mags, I wanted to get the proper mags they do for it. I'm always a bit of a stickler for that. I'm like it with all the replicas. You know, if it's the same branded stuff, I don't mind, but I've now got a bunch of magazines for it, which, let me put a bit of gas in a mag. Let's gas all these up. And just make sure they're not leaking. That one filled silently. These do have traits of like how VFC does it with the valve at the back. A lot of companies have started doing this now. I suppose it just makes it easier for filling the magazines up. And you haven't got a fart one. I'm wondering why this one was leaking. But see, that's the original mag. God, I have the worst luck at the moment with mags. I haven't touched this, and it was gas not long ago, and then I think I'd used the gas up and left it, which you shouldn't do. Just a little tighten up at the bottom there. And never leave your magazines stored ungassed, because then they'll start to leak. So we'll just... That one doesn't... There we go. Just play it up a little bit. So the beautiful thing about the Maxim 9 is it's a semi-auto pistol, but then if you want to, if you run it outdoors and you run it as a backup, you can run it full auto as well. And I do have some VFC Humorex. I originally bought these for the AR9, and these will fit and they will work. gas, but they will work. So if you were running it as a primary in CQB, I do have a bunch of these to fall back on as well, should I need it. But I've now got these lightweight mags, which are very cool. So expensive, but I know I'm going off on a tangent here. Job done. And for what you pay for this stuff, like 50, 60 quid mag, and you get it in this little cheap Mylar bag, it's just a bit of a slap in the face. I mean, Krytac, the Krytac stuff, pistol stuff, is just so expensive. But it's unavoidable. So this is like a little key mod piece. This would go, I might have to loosen these off. Is it a 2.5? I think it is. And all this does is, if it wants to go on, this is why I hate key mod. It's outdated now, if I'm honest. I need to unwind it even more. You can tell how long it's been since I've used key mod. I never liked it when it was popular either. Right, there we go. We can slide that on the bottom there like that, and then we just tighten that up. And then we take our like pistol torch or whatever, and it does sit really low, so it's sitting like here, but it's just an option there. Like I say, I'm just, you know, putting the scenarios in my head of, well, what if I take it to HC2 and I'm just running this as a primary for the day? So more importantly, the whole reason why this whole story started was I wanted this. Again, £135, not cheap whatsoever. You get an Ace Tech tracer, which normal stuff. Got the little tracer unit in here, which is tiny. I'm not sure which one this is. Would it be like a Brighter C or something like that? You can unscrew this. And then that's where you charge it. It does have, just trying to see mode. So it is completely dead, which can destroy Ace Tech tracers, so Ace Tech tracers even. We'll have to give that a charge. And then we get these extension pieces, and we also get a front piece as well, which I'm not sure, is that different to the original one? Bigger opening, yeah. So the way that we do this, we need a 4mm Allen key, I think. Yep. And we loosen these screws off at the front here, these little studs or nuts. And that lets that drop off the front there. So it looks like we take the front piece off, the slither, put that on. Can we run it actually without the extension? What's the extension for? Trace unit is compatible with both short and extended configurations. Right, okay, that's weird. So what is weird with this is you have a piece at the bottom here which is attached to the barrel. So that would mean that you'd have to unscrew this. Maybe that's if you want to use it on a different pistol, I'm not sure, but or just a spare one, but do they all come with that? I imagine they do. So we can screw this in. Can we screw it in? Doesn't want to screw in at all. Can we get this piece out? Let's there we go. Just use some needle nose pliers just to give that a turn and get it started. He says, spin this middle piece out. See, this is where I think they've gone wrong with it, because what they could have done is they could have, that looks the same. They could have gave us that piece. I suppose they can't, because I was about to say they could have gave us that piece with M-lock on the bottom instead, but it's not how it works. So that felt like it didn't want to screw up. Oh, it does. It was just being a twat. So why do they give you that to extend it if you can just fit it in? Why would you want to extend it if you don't have to? That makes 0 sense. So that piece was the one we took off. We can obviously put that back on, and then that would go on there. Right, okay, am I being like super stupid now? Like, what is the point in this? What is the point in that? Is it in case you want to fit a bigger tracer? Like, I understand this part because it's got a bigger opening, so if you want the flash off the tracer, I get that. But I don't understand why I need these pieces, because that goes on there. That would go on there. Like, why? I don't get it. And that would go on there, and then you'd use the... That doesn't fit on there. So then you would fit that, and then you would fit that. So what is the point in all that? I don't understand. Why have all this gap? It makes 0 sense. And here was me thinking, well, you know, I've got to have a tracer. That means the gun's going to be longer. I'm just going to have to put up with it. But I don't, because it fits fine. I've never been more confused in my life. They also give you this piece as well, which, why have they give you that when it's already included in the gun? Like, it seems like a bit of a waste. Like, if that obviously costs money to produce, so why give it to me if it's already there and I don't need it? It's just a waste. The annoying thing is, to take your tracer out to charge it or to change the settings on it, you're going to have to take the front end apart, but at least I can still have it small, because I really didn't want to do that. I'm kind of happy, but also annoyed that I'm paying for stuff, that, and that, which I don't need, and these, which I don't need. Super, super confusing. So I'd have to wait to get the battery charged, because the thing has been supplied with no battery, which kind of sucks. But so to get all this out, you have to pull all that off, pull your tracer out, then you'd have to unscrew this, then turn it on. It's not turning on, so I've got to go charge this now, because I obviously want to test it for you guys. So I will go away and do that. For you guys, it's going to be no time at all. For me, it's probably going to be an hour or two, depending on how long this takes to charge. So see you in a short while. For you, a couple of seconds. For me, a couple of hours, and we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I'm back. So we've charged up this little Aztec tracer for the Krytac Maxim 9, and you'll see it does blink now. It's got that shake to awake technology where it won't turn on unless you pick it up. There's no on button. I'm sure that if it was off and you press one of these buttons, it would turn on, but you'll see we've got two switches. We've got one that says mode, we've got one that says flame. And what this does, if we click it, you might not have seen that blue flash, but that turns the tracer on, and that turns the flame on. So there you go. So tracer and flame. If we hit the flame button, it will change the colour. So we've got like multiple colours there. We've got blue, we've got off, and we've got red. So we'll leave it on red for now. So you would need to charge this up, fit this back together like so, take your pistol, put on this main block piece and screw in your tracer. Like so. You take your blanking piece, which is this piece here, that goes on over the tracer, and then we're going to use the open front. So you've got one that has a bigger diameter, which will allow those LEDs to shine through. If you're not planning to use the sort of the flame version of this, you would probably just keep it to that to keep as minimal light coming out the front as possible. So with that on, we can now screw in these countersunk nuts with a 4mm Allen key. And can we actuate this so you'll see it flashes the tracer and it flashes the flame part of this as well. So let's get some BB. That should be fine. Let's grab that one to make it sit right like that. And let's get this camera flipped round. Right, got the camera flipped round. We're going to dump some rounds through this Krytac Maxim 9 and see how it does. I'm hoping that the tracer, yeah, there we go, it's still on. And let's go for it. We're going to do the Krytac Mags first. We'll do semi-auto to begin with, and we'll see how this thing does. So, don't know if you can see that, but they've got a very, very good glow on the BBs. I mean, even just shooting into a box, you can see, I can actually see the BBs in the netting in the box. Performs very good indeed. Now it is starting to gas spit a little bit, so we'll see how this thing does. Hopefully that tracer lights up the gas there so you can see it. Gas spits very much like a VFC. The VFC Glocks like to chuck a load of gas everywhere. Can I get I don't have a mag up here for the 18, I can't really show you. Right, VFC Umarex 50 rounders. Let's do semi-auto first. You might see a bit of that tracer. Let me try and angle it this way so you can see it. Seems to work more than good enough. Let's do some bursts. It's got quite a nice rate of firing, to be honest. It's not too fast, not too slow. And you can dump a 50 round mag, so not too bad at all. These mags are cold because they are freshly gassed. The pistol is very cold. In fact, not looking too bad now, but when I was shooting the short mags, all this was frosted up, so. You can quite control it nicely as well with the with the 2 and 3 round bursts. Now, we did empty the mag, but it didn't lock back. I do find, and again, I seem to always get into these arguments with people on YouTube about fill valves, and people seem to always misunderstand when I say I prefer the Marui fill valves. The reason for that is, I fill a Marui valve, yes, it vents gas. There's a reason for that. You know, it purges all the air out. As soon as the liquid propellant, which is what you want, gets to where the valve is, it spits up and you turn it off. Does it waste a little bit of gas? Yeah, it's so negligible though. And every single time I fill a Marui mag, I know exactly when it's full to the brim. These valves, they don't do anything, but as you'll have seen there, the first 2 mags, or 3 mags or whatever, had the same amount of gas fill as the fourth, but the fourth just started to struggle. And it's just inconsistent gas fills, and it's always been like that. Some manufacturers suffer from it more than others, but we'll keep going. So again, that mag was probably like 80% fill on BBs, and it could not finish the mag, which they've all been filled the same. And again, it's just like when you gas them, if you gas a Maru mag, you can hear how long it takes to fill the mag. With these like VFC style injection valves, sometimes you take an empty mag and you gas it, and it only sounds like it's putting a tiny bit of gas in, and that's because it is. So a lot of the times you have to purge them, or shoot them a bunch, and then they'll accept a bit more gas. It's kind of strange. It's like filling them old butane lighters back in the day. No matter how hard you tried, you just could not fill them up all the way. You had to sort of like pump the butane to get a proper filling, and I don't know why that is. So seemed a bit punchier then when I re-gassed it. So the Maxim 9, a very cool pistol. It was always the pistol that I used in the Ghost Recon games. I think you had Wildlands and Breakpoint. I would always use the Maxim 9 because it was just a very, I don't know, a cool stealthy pistol. It's not really stealthy for what we want. It is expensive. This pistol on its own with 1 mag is going to set you back £230 to £250, depending on where you get it from. This RMR optic plate, which is literally just a piece of steel plate that they've cut out and threaded, is £40. Like, sometimes people say that the parts that I produce for the Marus and stuff are expensive. This is just a steel plate and it's costing you 40 quid. You guys need to keep that in mind when you're looking at upgrade parts. This part would cost very little to produce. There is no reason why that part should be £40 retail. I think the cheapest part that I bought for this was the key mod rail, and this is an aluminium rail, so it's actually quite nice for how little it cost. I think it was like €12 or something like that. The tracer and these extra pieces, most of which you don't need, these will just be either cast or an extrusion, £135. So if you want this gun, disregard the top plate. If you want this gun with the tracer package that they do, you're spending close to £400, which is just astronomical. And that's, you haven't even got any mags for it yet. The mags cost, £50 to £60 per mag, and they hold 25 rounds. That being said, Umarex Glock magazines, I bought these from a trade distributor. These cost me just under £60 trade price. It's ridiculous. They're just so overpriced, and it probably is because that certain companies get involved in things that are officially licensed. But honestly, I remember years ago when you could go and buy a VFC made Glock pistol. It was unofficial at the time, and it would cost you about £60 to £70. That same pistol that's now coming through Umarex licensed is costing you £170 to £200. Can you see what I'm getting at? So this is a very nice little replica. It's the only one of its kind. There are things that could be done better. The trigger sucks. I have yet to determine what the hop's like. I've seen a lot of reviews on this and people say that it self-adjusts, but I haven't got that far yet. But, 250 quid, another 150 quid on mags, so 400 quid, 400, the RMR plate, 440, rail, like, we'll just call it 15, 450, 455, so 455 plus the tracer. I'm going to do quick maths in my head now. So 455, 590. So you want the Maxim 9, you want 3 spare mags, you want the RMR plate and the tracer and the rail, just in case you want to put a torch on it. You're close to £600, which might not seem too bad if you buy the pistol and you've got the mags already, or you run it on different mags. I'm imagining the compatibility wise with these is just like VFC stuff. They have the same gas rooms and stuff, so it would be very similar. It's an expensive gun. Do I like it? Yeah, I do. I would be interested in, you know, running this. Perhaps we should do the gauntlet with it and see how it fares. I do need to get another red dot to put on here. Again, the red dot mount costing £40. You put it on there, you can't fit your red dot because the plate sits lower than this back metal section here of the front. I can't call it a slide, but the front section of the pistol. So it sits lower than this piece here, so you can't actually put your RMR on because it hits this. So then I had to 3D print. You'll see a little grey plastic shim. I had to design and 3D print a plastic shim to be able to use this £40. It sounds like I'm going on a rant, and you're probably right, I am a little bit. But, you know, just take things like this into consideration when you're looking at other products, because people say Marui guns are expensive. You know, this 45, this HK45 here, which I bought the tactical, which came with the suppressor. I buy the pistol, all I need is an extra couple of mags. The mags are usually 25 to 30 quid, depending on where you're getting them. Now, this seems really cheap, doesn't it, compared to this? So, that being said, I am in a, you know, a comfortable position, you know, quite a, what's the word I'm looking for? Fortunate position where I can buy cool stuff like this. I know a lot of you guys ask what I do. You know, I have Jaeger Precision, which doesn't give me a wage. It just, you know, it's self-sufficient. It helps churn out parts. Anything it makes gets put back in, gets put into new projects. Occasionally, Jaeger Precision as a company now will buy the replicas for review and, you know, for research purposes in terms of parts and such. But I also have a full-time day job as well, which does pay well. So I'm in a fortunate position to buy this stuff. If you just want a sidearm that does semi and full auto and takes Glock style mags, this isn't the one for you if you want to save money. However, if you want a Maxim 9, this is your only choice. I'm not mad I bought it though, because it is a really nice piece, and it's very unique. Like, I imagine I've never seen anybody running one of these on the field. Maybe I'll go to a CQB game with it and run it and see what people think. It is big for what it is. This is kind of just all aesthetic. It's pointless. It doesn't have any type of functionality. So in terms of ergonomics and size of pistol and putting attachments on, you are at a disadvantage as well. You know, most days now you can go and buy, I mean, this is the wrong example to use because this is an expensive pistol, but if you went and bought a bog standard AAP01, you could take it out the box, you can feed it most Glock magazines, you have a threaded barrel so you could put a trace unit straight on, and away you go. You know, the rail piece and stuff you put on the top are very inexpensive. So if you're just buying this for a purpose, there are better options out there. But if you want to buy this for this, then it's kind of your only choice. The other downside to the accessories, like I spoke about before, is just availability. The availability on Krytac accessories, when they initially released, it was good, but now it's almost non-existent. So I imagine, who knows, they might be, you know, improving the platform and releasing it as a second batch or third batch. I really don't know, but hope you like it. This is the Krytac Maxim 9. Bit of a different video today because it's been like a how-to, like an overview, a burn down with the map, not a burn down, but, you know, a gauntlet test, not a gauntlet test, I'm getting it all muddled up now. So a Jaeger test with the mags, putting some rounds through it. One thing I will say is these magazines are so incredibly light, the Krytac ones, which is, again, why I wanted them. They just weigh hardly anything. Let's see, you could probably have, I would probably say these 4 Krytac mags weigh the same as about one of these 50 rounders. You know, redneck measurement there, but there you go. So thanks for tuning in as always. I know it's been a long video. I know I've waffled along. Feel free to skip along the video if I'm waffling too much for you. But I hope you like the Maxim 9. I haven't looked at it in a while since our initial videos on the platform, so I've been trying to find a reason to get it back on camera and do some bits. These parts turned up today from Airsoft Era in Ireland, so very much thanks to them. They had everything I wanted in stock, so I bought it from them. Keep your eyes peeled for new stuff coming on the channel. As always, if you want to see this being ran in the gauntlet, let me know in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you think I've done an alright job keeping you entertained for far too long. And as always, from me, Bench and Box, we'll be seeing you in the next video.